kind of setting up stream, but I've gone live and we have the timer, so now I have a time to meet, I guess. But do I even need to do something? I think I hopefully have done the most because I already went live. So would it be a bit dumb to still have things I need to do? No, it seems fine. Anyway, I'm back. I have survived, or well, I got sick, but I lived through quite some heat, or well, it's getting hotter, so I had to deal with the heat, and oh, I remember now what I needed to do. I will do that as soon as I can. I accidentally messed with the size of Mini-Me, and I need to correct that. Oh, and I need to send a message. I have sent that message. Okay, and yeah. Anyway, I hope everyone is doing fine. I am still kind of distracted. So I cannot really... I'm good with multitasking unless the task I am multitasking is talking and... Well, you noticed it. Unless it's talking and something that requires me to think. Which setting up stream kind of does. I need to find an intro music. I found an intro song that was kind of calming, but the sound quality went wrong with my OBS, so you heard it like weirdly. I need to fix that. But after that, I can stay silent and I can focus on other things. And I don't have to fall silent every now and then because I'm focused on other things. Okay. I think I only need to move Mini-Me a little bit. Because like the little feet are just too low. But that's an easy fix. But oh, wrong button. Me. I think this is about right? Probably. Okay. Stick that one there. Anyway, again, I still need... I again need to jump just in the middle of the story because we ended in the middle of the story. Which honestly was a great choice. That's not the thing I'm worried about, but like, why are you not allowing me to make it smaller? Huh? Hold up. My chat is now really small in OBS. Normally I fix these kind of... Oh, there we go. Okay. Normally I fix those things before stream, but I messed it up like right as I went live, so I had to fix it on stream. Anyway. Do I remember where we ended? Yes. We were... This is like after the hotel where they woke up and we were going to the wedding anniversary of the moms. And we were with Cove in the hotel. I believe that's basically where we ended up. Just after we woke up. Okay. There was nothing else stopping either of you now. In minutes you were hoping in your right and heading back to the neighborhood. It was another beautiful summer day in Sunset Bird. You couldn't resist rolling the window down so you could absorb it all during the drive. I I'm not gonna lie. Personally, I cannot stand open windows in cars. I can't even stand the air conditioner. Like just the wind. Even except if it's like really, really, really hot in the car. Then like the wind is nice, but otherwise the wind just bothers me. And I rather it just didn't exist. Co sat across the seat from you. What? Near the opposite. Oh, for a moment I thought there were like seats opposite of each other, and I was like, how is this car built? What? But no, it's just like the other side of the car. Near the opposite window. His gaze was locked outside, catching the old landmarks the vehicles was passing. Your spirit rose even higher the moment you made it home once more. Eager, you hopped out of the car and let yourself inside. Your moms knew you were going to be there that morning, so now they left the door unlocked. Easy to break it. I cannot understand people who leave the door unlocked. Like, we leave the front door unlocked, but it's not a door you can, like, open, and it's only unlocked if one of us is downstairs. But the second you made it past the threshold, an excited scream nearly scared you out of your shoes. Oh my god, she's so pretty. She's adorable. I didn't expect that. Well, okay, no, that sounds rude, but she looks completely different from what she used to look like. True, you're here. And guess what? I'm here too. Really? Wow, what a surprise. Didn't expect that. It's not like you're talking to me in real life, or well, I guess talking to True in real life, not me. That would be very scary. While your heart rate settled, a broad grin quickly took over your whole face. Since your cousin moved out on her own, you noticed that she really found her own groove. Yeah, you could say that. She was still the same loving person she had always been on the inside, but she expressed herself in new ways. Leah was strong, kind, and smart. Over the past few years, she graduated college and had a degree in history. What can you do with it? Not to throw shades. I'm just really bad at like. What can you do with a degree in history? I want to know. Or is this a journalist? No, these aren't right? What can I do with a history degree? Useful include. These are like 3 different museum jobs, and I did not expect secondary school teacher to be there. Human resource officer. Marketing. Why is marketing here? What does history have to do with marketing? Huh? Okay, some of these jobs I could have expected, like archaeologist or like academic librarian or academic researcher, archivist, all that kind of stuff. But what is a police officer and a marketing executive? I butchered that word. But what are those two doing there? Those what? I have no clue how degrees work. Though, last you heard, she was pursuing her dreams, working towards getting into the music industry. Well, that's great! You look great. I want to say that. Hey, it's nice to see you. I just screamed back, Lee! Excited, you shouted just as loud as she did. Lee hugged you tightly, nearly knocking you off your feet. Lee leaned to the side to glance past you and meet Cove's eye. The grin on her face widened while she waved. Hi, Cove. Hey, nice to see you, Lee. I got it practically at dawn. It was the whole thing. But At least I made it here alive. Hey, you're here! Heidi! How is life? You didn't miss much. Nice. Only thing you missed, basically, was like... Nice, I was fishing something. Finishing something. I was like, since when do you fish? Huh? But yeah, no. The only things you missed were basically like the going to the home, meeting Lee, and like me calling Lee pretty, and being very confused what people can do with the history degree. Also, is there just... no, wrong one. Config, right, that one I need to use. Is there just no music now? Okay, there's just no music, good to know. Yeah, it was very eventful. Lee exhaled and slumped her shoulders to emphasize how exhausting the ordeal was. Behind her, Liz made her way over. She crossed her arms at the scene. I'm here too, in case you were wondering. I'm always wondering if you're there somewhere. I wasn't, but thanks anyway. Lee giggled, and Liz's eyes narrowed at your remark. She seemed to stand up straighter, and the demure smile on her face didn't move. It wouldn't kill you to say hello, you know. Oh, it most definitely would. You neither, but I'm glad to see you too. Thanks, the feeling is mutual. Another friendly shout rang out in the living room. It was as cheery as it ever was from the many times you've heard it over the years. Good morning, family! Your parents both came out from the side hall together. Morning! Now that everyone is here, I do have a little something to mention. Ma put her hand lovingly over her wife's. Mom leaned her head into Ma's with a matching affection. We're all still having dinner together, but Pom here actually made plans to take me out to brunch to celebrate our anniversary. Just the two of us. Let's go, lesbians! Yes. Pleased, she hooked an arm around Ma's waist. Sorry to push you out, but I'm sure this group of mature grown-ups will be able to entertain themselves for an afternoon. We don't need to find a babysitter or anything. I mean, I'm a very adulty adult, very grown up and all. I basically got myself a babysitter for when my parents are gone. I always just invite friends over because I don't want to be alone. I basically just fix my own babysitter at this point. It's very smart. But like, my parents do not mind that I basically just fix my own babysitter because then they are sure I like do things like eating and sleeping and taking care of myself. Because I am aware if the other person doesn't do that, and the only way to get that, to get them to do things like eating, is to eat myself. Yes, and not burn the house down. I am not the person who would burn a house down. I might have burned soup, but... Yeah, okay. I might burn a house down. Yeah, okay, fair enough. Yeah, I was going somewhere, but yeah. That's the start of burning the house down. But I have it under control. That's the difference. Totally. Yeah, have fun, moms. Don't worry about it. We can survive. That's easy. Oh, we can survive that easy. Enjoy your brunch. This works out, actually. An afternoon open means there's time to meet up with Terry and Randy. Hopefully they're free today. Your two school friends still lived around the area. They knew you were coming for your mom's party, but when or how you might arrange to see each other wasn't set in stone. Definitely. We could call them. I have some people I'd like to say hi to as well. Liz had her cell phone in hand, ready to get her plans made before she was even done speaking. Arching an eyebrow, she then directed the next part at Lee. Would you want to come along? We've missed out on a lot of cousin bonding time in the past. I'd love to. It will be an honor to hang out with you, Liz. And whose fault is that? Oh, just throwing the shade. Okay. Dang. I think I'm just gonna wish them both, like, have fun. Good luck. Don't die. Be home before dinner. I don't know. Or those things. My friends still cannot tell me that they're going on, like, yeah, no, but they're not gonna be in the house probably, so that wouldn't be useful. But every time a friend of mine messages me, like, oh, I'm gonna go travel to this place, or I'm going to travel now, or I can't speak for a bit because I need to do something that includes traveling, I'm like, don't die while driving or going on a bus or stuff like that. Someone else's house. Oh yeah, fair enough. Like, even if they drive a lot, they still cannot escape the drive safely. Don't die. Or I will drag you back from whatever place you died at. Or where your soul went. I don't care. Don't worry. Fun is my specialty. Yeah, no. I agree with the automod. Your message went a bit too far. Let's not allow that. Let's move on. But it was, I know it was an example, but if I allow this message, I will just allow the word murder in my chat. Well, I think murder, the word, is allowed in my chat. Just not the sentence you wrote. I'm not gonna say it because... but I won't say the M word. Now you make it sound like you were saying a slur or something. Chuckling, Liz smirked. I forget sometimes, by the way, that my parents don't really have an online presence. So I would go with like, oh yeah, no, I just saw a post about like Happy Pride Month and that kind of stuff. And it just had a bunch of F slurs under it. And I just say F slur. And my dad was sitting there like, what's the F slur? And I was like, I'm not gonna say it out loud. How do you not know what the F slur is? I'm just online too much. We will try not to have all the fun. Don't get into too much trouble. Need to catch up. I basically teach my parents everything about the internet. That's a positive thing, because then I know what to leave out. You shook your head, and Liz winked. She then glanced back at her phone and rapidly typed a new text. Excellent, it's settled. She squeezed her wife's hand. Her gaze took in the whole room, ecstatic to have the house full again. Today is going to be perfect. I think so too. I truly couldn't be happier with my wife, my children, and our whole beautiful family. It's already a wonderful anniversary. There were awes and sweet comments from the group gathered around the couple for the hour. Honestly, that's really sweet. I would probably just have fake gagged or something. Seeing how your moms were, you couldn't help but hope that when you got to be their age, that you could be as proud of your life as them. That is goals. Yes, I want that. But Ma's attention then fell on you, and the look on her face twisted mischievously. A shiver shot down your spine. Oh no. Bro, that's the perfect life. I know, right? Living together with your loved ones, or being surrounded by your loved ones, that just sounds great. This is a very good time of year for a marriage, don't you think so? Oh my god! Yeah, let's spite our parents. Let's plan the wedding on the day they got married. Let's do it, why not? They're not being very subtle. Do you? That was not even meant to be subtle. You go for her when married. Yeah, exactly. With sniggers, all eyes eagerly slid over to you and Cove. Shocked at her implication, his cheeks burned red. There was no missing the meaning. No, she quite literally said it word for word what she meant. Even my autistic brain immediately knew what she said, and I can be very oblivious. Ask my friends. I can be so oblivious. She was clear as a bell, and she knew it. Oh, I know why I don't have music. Hold up, I have a setting that I... There's the music, softly in the background. It's kind of really soft though. Hold up. So. I might have turned off the sound of my PC because I was testing something and I forgot to turn it back on. And I suddenly remembered because I got reminded of how silent it was. I'm a top tier streamer, obviously. Yeah, sure, let's go with the first one. Right now, your focus and excitement was on your mom's upcoming celebration. Once that was over, though, you already bought a ring for him and were making other preparations. You already made a ring for him and you were making other preparations. Honestly, as nice as rings are, I kind of want to propose with a dagger and a ring. That's just because I want a dagger and swords at my wedding. But I also really like the idea of proposing with a dagger, like a customly made dagger. You screaming a dagger, or well, typing it in all caps lock, makes me uncertain if you like the idea or not. Right, what are you gonna do? Transfer him to... No! It's not... I just personally don't really like rings. Because I haven't worn any in like years. I don't even remember ever wearing rings. So the idea of like a ring doesn't really fit me. I don't really like the idea. I would like wear it on a necklace probably. So there would still be rings involved. But like, I just want something more personal. And I really like weapons that are like aesthetic pleasing. So I would just go out of my way to get like a fancy dagger made in like the same vibe that like my partner at the moment has. And I'm just gonna propose with like a ring that matches the dagger. But I will also just like... The ring will be involved, but I'm gonna propose with the dagger. They can also have the ring, but the dagger would be the main point. But yeah. A surge of pride warmed your chest, and you had to bite your bottom lip to keep yourself from giving the surprise away. Your finger itched to show Cove what you've been working on. The ring looked like Oh, I can customize, kinda. Oh. Gold. Change color. Silver. Gold. Silver. Platinum. Silver. Platinum. Oh my god. I need to make choices. Okay, this one and this one I find too much. I don't like this shape. I kind of want to go with like the flower one and gold. Who would like simple? I know, but you can also have some fancy things even if you like it simple. Like I could just give him this. Oh, but one is kind of cute. I think I'm gonna go with this one. I kind of wish these hadn't like the stones on the side, because then I would have wanted this one more, because this pearl is like really big. But yeah. Boop. Oh! Huh? Oh, it just shows the text thing. I thought I accidentally clicked twice. When the moment came, you were going to do something special before popping the question. When the moment came, you were going to pop the question. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I'm terrible with relationships. If I'm ever going to propose, it's gonna be like on the most random time ever after having discussed it with a partner. Or they have to propose, but like, I'm probably not gonna do something fancy. Unless I like know my partner wants that. But sure, let's do something special. And until then, you have to keep feeling your feelings on the inside. You got Cove shyly rubbing the slight scar that was still visible on his arm. His stuttering never quite reached full sentences. It instead turned into silence. Cove's brain was shutting down. Ma had sympathy for him.
There.
You don't have to say anything. It's just a little thing to ponder. At that, Cove's mouth shut. With a stiff nod, he creakily glanced at you. If it was only the two of you here, you got the impression he would have had something to say. For now, a meaningful look was all there was. Right. Right then, let's get back to what we were doing. After that, you enthusiastically began setting up plans to meet up with your friends. They were both able to come see you, having kept their schedules free for this, and you couldn't wait. Cove was also speedily sending text messages. Since you conveyed the plans to Terry and Randy, you imagined that he was letting his parents know about what he was going to be doing. The group continued to chat and catch up until it was time for your mom's brunch, your big meetup with your friends. Soon enough, everyone was out of the door, looking forward to their fun-filled afternoons and a dinner later that night. Once outside of the neighborhood street, you looked to Cove. He stood at your side with a bent smile. Terry and Randy were driving into town while you and Cove were traveling on foot to meet them at an easier-to-reach spot. Man, we really are like kids in Sunset Bird again, having to rely on other people who actually have cars to really get anywhere. Now we're stuck walking to whatever is nearby. Oh no, we're reverting back to infancy. A snort was followed by true laughter from Cove. Teasingly, you pouted. This isn't funny, Cove. I don't want to be a baby again. Honestly, being a baby again sounds kind of great, like you have zero worries. And you are just very oblivious to the world. I didn't realize we were regressing that seriously. He shrugged, then stuck his hand in his pockets. The thought of being little again made you shiver. I couldn't go back to that. I like being me currently.
Me too.
I like current you too. Oh, smooth? Sure. Let's go. You bounce forward several steps and shot Cove a playful look over your shoulder. With that, the two of you began to trip down the old road. Smooth like butter. It was a casual stroll into town, and before you knew it, you were at one of the large parking lots in Sunset Bird. It was the one that you used to have a little crab stall. Crabs? I don't know. Remembering the delicious smell, you got lost in thought. The store did well enough that it moved into a full-size building a couple of years ago. You've seen pictures, it was very cute. No, I didn't say that. I just don't know how to pronounce it, okay? The parking lot was now just, well, an empty lot that cars could theoretically park in. Not many took the offer. I mean, to be fair, in America, the parking lots are like very large. I don't think I have seen such large... The only places I have seen such large parking lots are like at a zoo or a place at least where a lot of people go to, like the Efteling. That kind of stuff. A museum. No, not even museums have those most of the time. But like America have one store has like a football field worth of parking spaces. Like, dang. That is a lot. Cove pulled out his phone, texting Terry and Randy in a group chat to let them know you made it. I mean, like, I know a lot of people drive, by the way, in America and not much use, like, the bike or public transport. Public transport is expensive, by the way. What's going on with that? I had to pay and I was like, excuse me, it cost how much now? I thought, like, public transport was supposed to be the cheaper option, so people stopped taking cars everywhere. The price of a train ticket for when I went to visit someone was almost high enough that I would have considered the 3-hour bike ride. Someone must have answered already, because Cove gave you a status update while still staring at his screen. Randy text, I can see you. Oh, the blare of a car horn cut you off. You and Cove both turned towards the source of the noise. One of the windows rolled down. Capitalism and stuff, I don't know. Fair enough, yeah, no, but like... At least it's getting better now I've got a job. I still need to go actually start at the job, but like, I've signed papers, I have a job, I'm very adult.
Hey, buddies.
Hey, buddies. Your friends have arrived, making a spectacle of it, as expected. Where you work now? I'm not gonna say exactly where I work, or like which stores, but I do work in a store. But I'm not gonna dox myself. I just work at a store. I can send you more details after stream in private. I'm not gonna dox myself live. That would not be a smart move. No! Being the only car meant that they got to pick the lot, so they pulled to a stop in front of you. The window closed back up, and instead of the two front doors popped open, Terry and Miranda stepped out on the pavement. Oh my god, she looks adorable! She's so pretty! Hey Cove, hey True! With a cheery wave, Miranda skipped towards you. Terry, on the other hand, walked speedily over to Cove. squeezing him in a hug. A quiet laugh escaped Cove, along with the majority of air in his lungs. He didn't fight the constriction, but instead gave Terry a backpack pat, with a large grin spreading across his face. I never really thought that, like, the air's left his lung kind of thing was true. Until a while ago I hugged someone and it actually felt like they were trying to break my ribs until I, like, asked them to, like, hey, can you please hug a little less tight? Because, like, this is starting to hurt. I like my ribs intact and not me needing to go to the hospital because you broke them. I didn't know people were strong enough to do that stuff. Soul-crushing hugs are nice, unless they are actually starting to crush something. In this instance, my ribs. Oh, he's pretty. When you let Cove go, Terry came right up to you. He held his fist up for you and you bumped it. Wait, guys prefer handsome, right? Yeah, I guess. I'm still gonna call him pretty, but, like, handsome. That means they love you. I know they love me, but I also like I love myself being not in the hospital, you know? Fist with a high five to make it dorky. Terry nodded saggily. You wiggled your fingers as an adult added hello. Gobbled through. It felt so nice to have your friend group reunited as adults. Terry was currently a full-time lifeguard down at the Bussier Beach a town over. You're proud of him. He'd helped a lot of people in his line of work. And in recent years, you and Terry were able to form an even closer bond. It was reassuring to have a friend who knew what it was like to go through a rough changing part of their identity. You could go to him for understanding, and you knew what Terry felt the same about you. Honestly, the thing about my friend group is basically everyone is queer. There's like one, I think, that isn't queer. All of them are queer. Like, that sounds nice, but it can also be a problem. Because when it comes to be like, oh yeah, no, I'm probably asexual, we will go ask the group a question. And because we are all queer, they could just go like, oh, you know, everyone experiences that way. It's fine. And you're like, oh, okay. And you just don't think about it again. It's like gaslighting each other out of identities on accident. Miranda took Cove's hand and one of yours in her other. Her eyes alight. She gave you both a gentle squeeze. Sounds great. It can be great. It's kind of funny, but it is also very frustrating sometimes. But it also causes domino effects, and those are great. Because then, if like one friend realizes something about their identity and like explains it to the group, it can cause like a domino effect that more people like realize it. I don't know how, but basically everyone in my life is queer. I don't know how I did it, but I think I'm just like a magnet for queer people. And like, because most of them were already friends before they started realizing they were queer. So like, it was just like a magnet pulling the group together. It was very funny.
So great.
I'm so happy to see you again. Hey Terry. Hi Miranda. He answered assuredly. It was clear that he was equally glad to see them. This reunion was long awaited. For a while, Miranda had been working hard as an assistant at the school, while continuing her own education. She also kept busy running a small online shop selling crafted knickknacks she made. You look so cute! Oh, stop that. If I can give people compliments, I will give people compliments. The pink in her chest deepened at your compliment. I mean it. You knew how full Miranda's plate had been for a while now, but despite the busy schedule, she really did take the time to put together a fantastic look. Miranda released your hands. Giggling, she eyed you both carefully. So, how have you been?
It's nice.
Things have been nice. No comment. It's fantastic. It's been going well. I've been going
cool.
Doing well. I'm really glad. Miranda put her hands behind her back sweetly, leaning forward just a smidge. Of course, everyone already knows you'd be a success. What? What about you? I'm super. Terry slid up next to Miranda and put his arm around her shoulder. Sighing dreamily, Randy chuckled up at her boyfriend. Yeah, things have been unbelievable. He pressed his cheeks against Miranda's, and she let out a light squeak, as she put on an amused grin on your face. Oh, the side put an amused grin on your face. Your friends made a wonderful couple. They knew each other well and cared about each other so much. There was no shock at all when you heard the news that they started dating. Honestly, not gonna lie, last step, I thought they were already dating. Was kind of surprised they weren't, but okay. The corner of your mouth curled up playfully while you took the warm welcomes all around. At the time, it was still kind of funny how your group of 4 friends evolved into 2 couples. Now that you were complaining about it, you thought it was an amazing thing. Cove then pulled his phone out and peeked at the screen. He repeated the motion every so often. You raised a curious eyebrow at this unusual behavior. Cove was too focused on whatever he was doing to even notice you noticing him, which was even stranger.
So...
is there anything either of you want to do while we're here? Any place you want to see? I'd be up for a lot of things, but actually there's something I want to do right here. Oh yeah? What's that? Terry poked Cove's arm playfully. Miranda met your eye, silently asking if you had any idea what Cove was talking about. You shrugged. I just want to see my friends. Uh-huh. Cove, you're already doing that.
Well...
I'm waiting. I think so, yes. True, but I could be doing it even more. Okay, I'm very confused. You, Terry, and Miranda all turned to Cove with identical, incredulous expressions. His stare moved to a point past you 3, and you heard the scrape of sand and gravel underfoot. Someone else stepped into the parking lot. Startled, you jumped at the call of the warm voice shouting over.
Sup, guys, gals, and pals?
Sup, guys, girls, and pals? I did. Running a hand through his hair, the person who crossed the lot was unmistakably Derek Suarez? I feel very bad about mispronouncing that surname. Surname? Look at this buff-ass boy. He is very buff and very handsome. He was beaming the whole way. It's been too long, even though it hasn't actually been that long, but long enough. Oh man, hug alert. hug time. It was comforting and solid. But he was also big enough that it was already hard to fit him in your arms. You could feel the rumble of his laughter against your cheek. Derek held you in return.
I missed you.
I missed you. Okay. He spoke to you gently. You were thrilled just being there, reunited with him. Derek was a good friend of yours, and he had been for a long time. Hey. Hi. He waved over at Terry and Miranda pleasantly. Over the years, they all had met several times in passing, simply through being friends with the same people. Sup, big man? Hi, it's great you could come. Cove put himself next to Derek, happy. He clapped a hand on his friend's shoulder. Hi, thanks for coming.
Thanks.
Of course, thanks for inviting me. Sheepishly, Cove looked back at you and the others. That's when it clicked, in your mind. It wasn't his parents that had been texting earlier, it was Derek the entire time. Derek is in town for a few months to help my dad and his dad with some work. Yep, I'm working for my own business thing too, but I'm still involved with running the scuba shop when it's called for.
Very nifty.
Nifty. Humming, Derek elbowed Cove.
So?
But hey, we don't have to stand around here for my sake. What's the plan? Let's hit town. Eager to get going, everyone piled into Terry's car. The rest of the afternoon was spent visiting spots all over Sunset Bird, laughing and reminiscing the whole way. Once it started to get late, Terry brought you and Cove back to the neighborhood. You didn't have to walk there after all. You didn't get out until promises were made to see each other again before your trip ended. Side by side, you and Cove stood in the street and waved at the car as it drove away. Terry tapped the horn for 2 honks while Miranda stuck her hand out of the window to wave back. You caught Derek in the back window, giving you both a wide grin. Sighting as soon as the car turned down another street, they were finally out of sight. Well, that was one party. Time for another. Ready to see your moms? Always. Let's keep the celebration going. You shimmied a bit right there, in the street for added emphasis. He looked at you amusedly and rolled his eyes.
Come on.
Come on, let's go. Spirits high, you and Cove crossed the distance to your house. It was almost time for an anniversary dinner. You barely stepped over the threshold of the condo before Ma descended, eagerly welcoming you both. The usual greetings were followed by questions on everyone's well-being, after which the conversation moved to the excited chatter about tonight's dinner plans. Cove excused himself to the restroom to freshen up before being on the move again. Ooh, fancy. But when he returned, you were shocked to see an entirely changed outfit. Where did that come from? I packed it with me so I could get dressed before the dinner without having to go back to the hotel. Didn't you? Or maybe you have the stuff still here at your mom's place? No, Cove, I didn't do that.
Huh.
But your mom's party is at the country club. And that's also where Liz took golf lessons. Not everyone here is in their Sunday's best. It'd be different if you were going to one of the club's parties, but we're only going for a regular meal. Cove was befuddled by your explanation as you were with his actions. He threw his arms up, desperate for understanding.
Seriously?
How can you not dress nicely for a country club? What is a country club and why are we obsessed with it? Privately owned club, often with membership quota and... Oh, okay. You know what? That explains a lot more. By invitation or sponsorship. Hold up. Okay. That explains why he thought he needed to dress nicely, but like... I feel like those are the kind of things you communicate. Then again, if it's like a celebration dinner, I think you should have dressed more nicely. You have to go? No worries. Have fun with whatever you need to do, and otherwise, good luck. Thanks for joining the stream anyway. Thank you. So, nobody heard my voice. Thank you. I don't think the Cyprus is as special as you decided it is. You saw Ma when she wasn't in formal clothes, and she is one of our guests of honor. His frown wobbled and his cheeks became far pinker. He looked down at his own self regrettably as he pulled at the cuff ends of his shirt. He seemed more like a scolded child than a grown adult man dressed for the latest charity gala. I thought she was going to get changed while you and me were... You're such a cutie. I love how much of an idiot you are. He is adorable. Cove could only sigh, fully embarrassed. Cove stole a glance at the hall, as if he was calculating if he had time for another quick change. Unfortunately for him, it was not meant to be. The time to head out came far quicker than you expected. Mr. Holden and Kiara swung by the conduit to make sure everything was in order. For your second surprise that night, Mr. Holden was also in formal clothes. Cove's face excitedly whipped from towards yours. At the same time, Mr. Holden went to Kiara's. The two men pointed at one another. See? He knows! Exactly, sport. Kiara was talking to me like I was crazy. The what now? Aforementioned Kiara placed a hand delicately yet dramatically across her eyes. Clifford, our son only knows this because you are the one who raised him. Mr. Holden chuckled, his arms moving to scratch the back of his neck. Yeah, that's my boy. The end of Co's mouth gently bent up. He truly was his father's kid. In more ways than he even realized. They may be the only ones in the group, potentially the only guests at the entire club. All goosied up. But at least they could now take solace in one another. That looked to be good enough for them. All of the Hope family, as well as the honorary members Cliff, Kiara and Cove, headed out the same time to the Cyprus. It was a perfect reunion. An impeccably smart host greeted you on arrival, smoothly leading the way to set the table reserved for your group. Once you all settled in, chosen drinks were poured in delicate glasses. The food would come later, would be coming out later. Let you soak up the atmosphere for a little longer. Smiling, your parents faced the group of familiar faces, all gathered here together to share this special day with them. But you're still so pretty. Mom reached over and took Ma's hand, clasping it between both of hers.
Thanks.
Thanks for being here tonight, gang. Marrying this lady right here is the best thing I've ever done, and there's no one else I want to celebrate with. Yes, we're so lucky. Not only do we have each other, but we got such a large and loving family through all of you. Around you, you heard people saying "Aww" and chuckling appreciatively at the comment. Lee had clasped her hands tightly in front of her, her eyes shining. Your eyes met Liz's misty ones, and the affection she had for her mom's carried over to you too. Oh, that is adorable! You turned your attention toward the happy couple just as they leaned in to kiss, smiling all well. The table responded with cheers and clapping. Shouts of "Happy Anniversary" and other congratulations continued even after they broke apart. Mom beamed as she watched Ma giggle dreamily. The waiter reappeared, delivering delicious plates of food, and the dinner began in earnest. Both conversations and laughter continued to flow freely as the night went on, with the two families relishing the opportunity to be together once more. Eventually, after your hunger, thirst had been fully satisfied, the plates were cleared, and the event began to draw to a close. Cliff and Kiara exchanged goodbyes with the family before heading out together. Cove gave his goodbyes to his parents, while hanging back until your moms were ready to head off. You were getting a lift back to your mom's. It was already late, so you discussed the possibility of going straight to the hotel rather than going back to the condo, but Cove had asked if they mind taking him back to the neighborhood. He wanted to visit it a little longer. Your moms had happily agreed. Les and Lee were fully feeling tired, so your mom swung by their hotels during the trip home, while you and Cove made the full journey with them. Riding in the backseat of your mom's cars, with Cove's felt more than a little nostalgic. As your eyes drifted over to him, his head resting on the window, it was hard to believe how much time had passed. Mom stretched as he got out of the car, smiling over his shoulder as she headed towards the house. Time to put my feet up. Are you two joining us? Cove shook his head. No thanks, it's your anniversary. You don't have to entertain me, I will take a walk. It's never any trouble to have you over, Cove.
You alright with that?
Let him do as he pleases, Lenny. But you better not stay out too much later, or there will be trouble. Matt chuckled as Mom wagged a finger, her expression exaggeratedly severe as she reprised the role that, in truth, she never really played. Neither of your parents had been particularly harsh as you grown up. Matt joined in the act. Don't go too well just because there's no school tomorrow. Laughing, they made their way inside, leaving you standing out in the dark street with Cove. You didn't even have to ask him why. You already had the answer for this. He wasn't ready yet for the day to end. Without a word, Cove began to stroll down the road. You walked alongside him. You know your destination long before you arrive, on a dark and utterly deserted beach. There were no lights down here. Nothing but the moon and the stars for illumination. The only sounds were the gentle waves rolling in and out, the soft sound of footprints left in the sand. In other words, it was perfect. Cove stepped out into the waves without a word. He looked up at the sky with a smile, then tucked his head down and began to pull his fancy shirt off. He tucked it over his head and lopped it backwards, further up the beach, and out of reach of the waves. I didn't know I'd be getting a show. Cove froze, his arms still raised from when he'd thrown the shirt. Slowly, he came back to life, stiffly pulling his arms back down. Your commentary had made him self-conscious. Laughing, you clapped your hands in delight at this awkwardness. Cove slipped his dress pants off and stood back in roughly the same direction as his shirt. Tossed them back in roughly the same direction as his shirt. He was down to just his polka dot boxer briefs. Sometimes you were really struck by ways in which he was braver than his younger self. This was definitely one of those times. You never ever would have done this when you were both living on the street. But you also know he wouldn't do it with anyone other than someone he spent all those years with. You thought it was so wild that Cove was actually... I didn't like swimming in the sea, especially at night. Cove waded further into the waters, until it came up to his chest. You marveled as Cove turned around in the water, his exposed shoulders glinting under the moonlight from where the waves had splashed around him. Cove grinned and waved at you from the sea. You're gonna be in so much trouble when when we get back. Cove shrugged. He was enjoying this too much right now to care.
I guess.
Yeah? Oh well. Think fast! He splashed water at you as soon as the words had left his lips, giving you no time to prepare. You managed to turn just enough that your back took the brunt force of the onslaught. But you were still wet now. You're a child. Kick water back. Cove laughed, not realizing what you were up to until the water came shooting in his direction. You managed to get some in his mouth, which you took as a victory. Cove sighed, then looked at you mournfully. The sudden shift in mood alarmed you, but those worries disappeared as soon as he opened his mouth. I'm still not a merman. The world is cruel. He sniggered. After a moment, Cove's mock sadness broke and he joined in. The two of you wound up drifting further down along the shoreline, chatting and enjoying the chance of being chatting and enjoying the chance to be back on the beach that had provided the backdrop for so much of your childhood. Eventually, a silhouette of structures appeared up ahead. As you drew closer, you realized it was the old playground. Ko spotted it too and hurried towards it, dragging himself out of the water and heading into the park. Wet sand coated his feet. Lower legs with every step, clinging tightly enough that it began to reassemble a bizarre pair of boots. As you followed him, you wondered how many visitors this little park got these days. There were officially no children living in that neighborhood now. Cove gazed at his surroundings. In wide-eyed awe, he didn't care at all that he was soaking wet and dressed only in his underwear. Not gonna lie, if I find someone, like a grown-ass adult in only their underwear in the middle of the night in a children's playground, I will probably call the cops. Crouching, he gently pushed one of the child-side swing seats, marveling at all of it.
Wow.
I can't believe how tiny everything is. We were seriously small enough to use these? He shook his head, unable to fathom just how little you'd both have been when you first met, then walked over to the monkey bars. Once, these had been a challenge for you. Now they were little more than waist height next to Cove. Cove turned his back to the bars and hopped onto them with ease, sitting on them comfortably. Stand in front of him. It was strange seeing adult Cove juxtaposed with the baby playground. This place had been something so exciting to Cove back when he first arrived, and apparently it was to this day. Cove smiled eagerly as you approached, kicking his feet in the air happily, briefly forgetting the low vacant point until the tip of his toes scraped along the ground. Ouch. He continued to swing his feet, but with a little more care. You thought it was adorable. That sounds adorable. In this moment, you were home. It just so happened to be the place you grown up. But really, anywhere you could be with Cove was that for you. That's adorable. Aww. He had held a special place in your heart for so long, and so much of your life had been shared. You'd grown up on the same street, which had given you some common ground. But it went far beyond that. You had both chosen from a young age to share your life with each other. You wouldn't have had it any other way. Here we are again. Here we are. The mood had shifted now. The funny, impulsive night beach strip with the spike of adrenaline that came from you playing in the water under the moonlight had settled into something quieter and more nostalgic. Cove leaned back, tilting his head towards the sky to admire the stars above. The dinner was really nice. It was great to do all this. The smile he had when he spoke those words fell as quickly as it has appeared. Oop. Really? It went by so fast. We all come out here for the party and it's over. Liz, Lee, our parents, we'll all be going back to our own thing now. But what else can you do except say it's okay? I guess it's part of growing up. Oh, I guess it's part of growing up. This place and these people, they're our foundation. It shaped who we are now, like making castles out of sand. I owe a lot to Sunset Bird. His eyes crinkled fondly, and Ghost's voice was gentle when he spoke again. We had a good childhood, I think. Oh yeah, no, from what I've seen, great childhood. At least parts of it. You're right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. He shook his head slightly heavily. Alright. He smiled with an uncharacteristically harsh twitch. He had a feeling where this was going. You better get home before your dumb parents, who don't know anything, get mad. You had to laugh at the half-hearted impression of the sour kid you once encountered in this very park. He chuckled along with you for a moment before tempering off. I hope you don't get grounded. The jokes kept coming. It was very amusing to imagine that not only could your mom somehow ground you as a fully grown and independent adult, but that their powers extended over Cove as well. As much as you were enjoying being back here, Cove was right. You had to accept that you needed to go now. It was late, and your moms were still expecting to see you before you got a ride back to the hotel. Cove popped down from the bars, landing easily on the ground, only a short distance below. Before you could return, you had some clothes to retrieve from the beach. You trotted the same path, following the footprints down the shore you had left in the sand only a little while earlier. Once Cove was crouched up in his abandoned clothes, you started to walk up the old path home, side by side. Droplets of water slipped down from Cove as he and fell on the road as you made your way back to your mom's house. As he was still soaked and sandy from your earlier adventure, it was likely that Cove was leaving quite a trail in his wake. But you see, Cove's bedroom growing up, it was only natural for him. The air was slightly humid, already pleasant dense with moisture that felt like a hug as it closed around you. Any damp footsteps that were left behind would take longer to dry in this weather. The signs of your adventure might even be visible when the sun came up the next day. You hope so. You quite liked the idea of you and Cove leaving your mark on your hometown again, even if it only for a little while. Despite being out late, and in Cove's case, mostly undressed, the balmy summer night prevented you from feeling any chill. You were entirely comfortable. In truth, you felt warm inside and out. The weather had been so lovely, spending time with friends and family, and your eyes drifted over to Cove. Cove Holden, your boyfriend. Just seeing him brought a smile to your face. Oh, I also want to be with you. Cove turned to you, his eyes wide and adoring, and he bit his lip as he smiled shyly. You could tell that your words had touched him. I feel the same way, exactly. Kiss. Catching him by the hand, you stopped Cove in his track and pulled him in close. Your hearts... somersaulted as your lips met. At this moment, with the quiet seaside town at rest, it felt like it was just the two of you in the world. Cove returned the kiss, gently crawling your head with his hand until you broke apart. You were full of joy, all other concerns, and the day-to-day stresses of normal life were squeezed out by it. All you could think in the moment was how your life was wonderful. Every second and every day needed to end sometime, and that time had nearly come for tonight. You had to get at least some rest and bring it all to a close. And so the two of you went inside to say goodnight to your moms, as well as clean yourselves up the best you could. Your moms, both in pajama, ready for their own sleep, hooted with laughter as she came inside, disheveled and damp, and their teasing continued until the car came to get you to the hotel. Cove stayed silent as he put his casual clothes on again, placing the formal ones in a bag he brought them in. You had given Mom and Ma plenty of material for a mock scolding, and you got a playful lecture about not staying out so late in the future. You just grinned at your parents in partner in crime, feeling like a naughty kid again. It had been worth it. By the time you and Cole finally dragged yourselves to your hotel room for the night, the sky had been dark for some time and the lonely hotel hallways were quiet. The 8 hours made you feel a sense of fulfillment. You really were making the most of your trip. It was such an odd thought that this was almost over. You had settled into this new routine naturally. All the familiar streets and faces made everything easy to get used to. The two of you drowsily shuffled past an ice cream machine and into your room. Cove set his phone on his bedside table and you followed suit. You both started settling in for the night. The hotel room was a welcome sight after your long day. You noticed Cove rub the back of his neck and yawn. His voice was quiet and distant. I hope the pet sitter is doing good. The wish wasn't exactly directed to you. It was just a sleepy thought that Cove had unleashed upon the world at large. But you still agreed. I hope so too. Cove still kept the fish after all these years. Delightful, colorful thing in a huge aquariums. He spent a lot of time when he wanted to relax just watching them swim. You also adopted pets, who you loved dearly. Your home was a lovely place full of critters that both of you cared for. That's why, with both of you gone, it had been important to find a decent pet sitter. Cove's anxiety about leaving them hadn't subsided. Over the vacation, you had caught him a few times texting the pet sitter and asking about his fish. You'll be okay. Cove turned his head to you, the nervousness still coming off despite his exhaustion. I know what you mean, but you choose the person for a reason. You trust them. But they're all fine. They just miss you. Cove smiled, appreciative of your comfort. You nodded in satisfaction. Mission accomplished. Cove yawned widely. He seemed confused at the magnitude of it. He groggily blinked at you. I think it's time for bed. You glanced at your watch. It really was astoundingly late. Yeah, Cove, that is an understatement. The two of you got changed and brushed your teeth. In no time at all, both of you were cozy and ready to sleep. After that, you flopped onto your side of the shared bed. Cove headed over to his side, and you felt the mattress dip under his weight. You tucked yourself under the covers, and Cove snuggled in closer to get to the middle. You turned on your side to face him and scooted slightly closer. Your nose almost touched, and Cove watched you with a soft expression on his face. We're going to quickly save this game. Because I just realized I haven't done that for like the past hour, and I didn't want to lose all of it. But the game has been saved. We are now also safe. We can continue. Cove gently spoke, his words like a lullaby.
Good night.
Good night, True. Night. Cove's eyes flirted shut and he let out a content sigh. There was warmth with Cove's bodies next to you. He was right there. Oh. Present was comforting, perfect for lulling you to sleep. It wasn't long before you were certain Cove was asleep. You hadn't followed him to Dreamland, however. Instead, your mind was busy, working through your current situation. If you wanted to propose here in Sunset Bird and still make it something special, you were running out of time. There aren't going to be opportunities tomorrow where Cove would likely part from you, so... Time to sneak out. You want to have at least a little bit of decoration. You want to have at least a bit of decoration and a gift or another romantic gesture. It was more than worth the extra effort, if it had to be a moment to remember. Untangling your body from his was a challenge. Every time you began to pull away, your lover stirred, constantly trying to readjust his hold on you. He pressed his face against your shoulder, and you had no choice but to move him to the pillow. I'm very clumsy. You attempted to shift his head was tragically shaky, and the way his cheek squeezed in between your fingers enlightened you on how tight you had accidentally held on. You sucked in a tense breath as his eyes lazily opened. True. You're dreaming, go back to sleep. Gotta use the bathroom. No. Cove eyes and arm dropped, releasing you from his struggled grip. He offered Cove a silent apology for the secrecy before dropping completely out of the bed. Finally, he slipped into the night, catching a ride to gather what you need for the occasion. From being under the blanket of the hotel to the blanket of the starry night above you, made the most of the time you had. You made the most of the time you had. Dang, this is one good story. I'm like really focused on it and I really enjoy it. Part of me is kind of happy there's not someone actively talking in chat because I'm kind of enjoying the reading. Like, I enjoy interacting with chat. But this is like I'm being very sucked into the story. Once your modest plans were achieved, you didn't waste any time returning to where you were meant to be in this hour of the night. Returning to your spot in bed was a welcome relief. You could rest easy now, even though only a few hours were left to do so. Still, you had no regrets over losing some sleep. You were going to propose to Colfold. Your eyes fell close after some time after. You were not sure exactly when, only the fact that they were now too heavy to open. Unsurprisingly, your exhaustion did not give you too much time to muse on what you've done, and in what felt like seconds you were already dreaming. The dreams dancing around your head became fragmented and faded until you couldn't remember a thing about them at all. You were growing more aware of the real world. Woke up on my own. Groggily, you struggled to keep your eyes half open. It didn't matter how much you wanted to get up, your body had other plans. Yawning, your eyelids kept drooping and getting dangerously close to sticking shut. You sat up fully with a big yawn, stretching your back, then your arms, and lastly your neck before accepting the day. The blanket fell to the side while you swung your legs over the side of the bed. A part of it almost got caught on your foot, but you kicked it away. Cove slipped out of bed on the opposite side. Today would be the last day in Sunset Bird. The only thing you had planned for was some family time in the old neighborhood. You figured you'd see where the day took you from there. Yawning again, you glanced over at your clothes. There was just one more day to live out of your bag. I don't have anything clean left, but oh well! Hey Cove, is there anything you'd like to see me in today? No, you were looking nice in whatever you wear. You always do. Aww, you're still smooth like butter. You knew from the tone of his voice that Cove was sincere, and his praise warmed your chest. Alright, let's get things going, our families are waiting. Nodding, you swiftly got ready in the small hotel room, all a jitter. Today was the day. When you returned to Sunset Birds, you were planning on proposing. From the look on Cove's behavior, you had no idea. You fought to keep the thrill of whipping up in your chest from coming out too strongly. As soon as you had your stuff together and were ready to go, you were off. During the ride there, you and Cove decided to visit his dad's house first, this time. When you got dropped off, Cove eagerly hopped out into the street, with his eyes locked on his father's condo. Your gaze fell on your boyfriend. He stood in the middle of the street where you grew up together, while the summer sun made him shine. Though he was the brightest light in your eyes, no matter what. Time to follow through with the plan. Hey, Cove? Yeah? He mumbled and answer out in the corner of his mouth, his eyes glued on his father's condo. Would you go to the Poppy Hill with me? Cove moved to stare directly at you. Your mouth drooped into his mouth drooped in a tiny frown as he absorbed your suggestion to suddenly change the plan. But once he did see the look on your face, he shook off any lingering confusion. The smile you loved grew once again. Of course, lead the way. He released a breath, drew closed teeth, preparing that with a nod. To the hill behind your old house you went, just the two of you. It was a journey you were instantly familiar with, but this time it was simply not the same. Actually, doing it, you felt full of deep bowel of emotion you needed to express. Painfully nervous, started thinking. True happiness, your decision was natural, and you had nothing to worry about. Very natural. It's not like some godly creature is like rearranging your every move. You stride forward with enthused, happy, as if you were bouncing between tufts of clouds. Imagining what was about to happen was such a joy, you had to stop yourself from picturing too hard lest you spoil the real deal that was right ahead. But you did nonchalantly sneak a pat at the spot where the ring was tucked away. It was just as ready as you were. Under your feet, tarmac gave away to dirt and sparse tufts of grass, which then transitioned into a lush full field of green and white. The gentle fluttering of petals was your greeting. Poppy Hill, the exact spot you first met your new neighbor over 15 years ago. You shared countless memories here over the years, catching fireflies, catching more fireflies, catching more... How many times did we catch fireflies? Like 3 times? Watching the clouds, simply taking time to just talk to one another. You grew here together, side by side. This small part of the world was inextricably linked with Cove in your mind. It was the place where your most important encounter occurred, and you knew it needed to be the place where you asked him the most important question. You sat out on the grass, laid a lovely blanket, on top of it a white poppy bouquet.
What?
What? The pinch of his brows revealed Cove's bemused before his words did. Is someone else actually here? That basically never happens. Nope, it's only us. And it's for you. I'm the one who set this up. Nice to see nothing blew away before we got here. Cove's wide-eyed expression was glued to you, as if you transformed into some kind of mythical creature, perhaps a mere creature, right in front of him. Though you couldn't say that was unreasonable, since he was probably thinking you must have teleported here and back in a blink to get past him. Surprise, I did last night, while you were sleeping peacefully in our hotel room. Cove Grace only moved enough to scan across your face. His focus was still entirely dedicated to you. You came here by yourself in the middle of the night? I was okay, I promise. The shock finally began to give away as his mouth shook. That could go one of 2 ways with Cove, and wonderfully, you were treated to a wobbly smile. Cove twisted his head to look over his shoulder at the scene you arranged. Then it came back to you. When it did, he was beaming in full. Cove was touched.
That's...
Thank you. That's so, so nice. You didn't have to do that, really.
That's...
Oh, wrong button. He chuckled. The reason why he did this hadn't occurred to him at all. Cove scrunched his fingers into the side of his pants with both hands. His head tilted down bashfully. It thrilled you how you could still fluster him, like a shy teenager after all this time. True, it's wonderful. He started to turn away, moving to sit on the welcoming blanket, and, to hide his reddening face, you called out before he could finish the motion. Don't wait, there's something else.
Seriously?
More? Your lover was in disbelief over the news, but paused as requested, mid-step even. Yes. Oh. Oh, the rare shells. The firefly, well, they were still out and kept it safe until now. The firefly. I mean, that's kind of symbolic, because, like, I choose the hill, because, like, that's where they, like, met and that kind of thing. But the firefly was there when they became partners, lovers, whatever. Can you wait here for a minute? Okay. Not leaving room for any potential questions Cove might ask, you spun on your heels and made a break back towards the neighborhood street. The night before you had been able to store your stuff in your mom's backyard for this moment. Technically you were breaking and entering, but you were sure they wouldn't mind. No, parents wouldn't. I mean, I think at most they would be upset you didn't tell them. As you slipped over the old fence, you imagined that your moms would have said if they had caught you sneaking around here. It was praise and a healthy dose of cheesing. Cove's surprise was still safely tucked away where you had left it. You might have lost a lot of sleep, but this had you invigorated. You took it into your hands and ambled your way back out to your expectant partner. You only stopped running when you arrived right in front of Cove. He paused for you to breathe. Then, when the Pete passed, he sputtered out the question he was holding back.
What?
Where did that come from? My mom's backyard. You did that too? By yourself? At night? Cove blinked rapidly while he started to babble. It was a struggle for him to process your actions. True, I don't... Can you tell? Let me give it to you. You could understand the end of his thoughts, so you cut it off. He didn't understand why you were doing this. That was perfect. He closed his mouth and answered with a demurred bob of his head. You lifted up the present you kept wrapped in your arms. It was clearly a container with air holes and a tiny creature inside. During the day, it may not have the familiar light, but bearing inside, Cove recognized it instantly.
Wow.
A firefly? You caught me a firefly? It's beautiful. His voice shook as he spoke the words. Yeah, I want to make sure you had one this visit. It was a sincere attempt to convey the depths of your affection for him, and the message got through. Cove gripped his shirt, the spot right in front of his heart. There was a bend to his already wavy eyebrows as a deep red color grew across the skin. Your Chester had him swooning. It was a beautiful, wonderful feeling to succeed in making him feel cherished, because you absolutely did adore him. You wanted to marry him. And with that thought, you knew it was time to share with Cove the true reason you asked him to come here. As you were getting mentally prepared, you carefully set your gift down to free your hands. It was silent. You and Cove faced one another. Affection filled the small space between you. He still didn't know why you were doing this, but he transparently didn't care. He was only happy to be there, to be with you. There was a warmth in your chest. You reveled in how much you mattered to him. and how you shared those emotions for him. You never would have imagined this when you first knew the grumpy little boy he was, but now as adults, it was the absolute truth. You wanted to be with Cove. It was simple. It was inescapable. You loved Cove. You loved him so deeply. At the moment, you couldn't have been more certain. Every step you'd ever taken in this life was leading you right here. With words, I would start with action. I want to see which action, but I'm gonna start with words. Okay. No, we're gonna start with words. Let's get married, okay? Once we're together, we should probably make it official. But make a deal. I give you 20 if you marry me. Making cry, baby. And you're a best man I know. I want to marry you. I was just wondering, should we have an indoor or outdoor wedding? It all happened in slow motion, his expression of sincere affection shifting into quivering awe, eyebrows lifting nearly to his seafoam green hairline, and his mouth stretching out to the limit. But despite Cove's mouth being open, he didn't breathe a word. He was entirely incapable of that. You made your own move. Down on a knee while taking the ring out of your pocket. Yes. Your blue eyes shone in the bright light of the day, and you hoped he could see the strength of your love for him as you looked up at him from down on one knee. I don't remember that being the one I chose. Did I choose the wrong one on accident? Fine. Still pretty. Your carefully crafted ring glittering just as brightly as you did when you lifted up the lid to reveal it. I'm gonna quickly break out of this, because now I wanna know. I wanna see up, I'm gonna quickly scroll back, or look back, because I'm really curious. I probably just selected the wrong ring on accident. But I wanna know. Okay, hold up. When was I selecting a ring? Okay, it was before this. Kind of forgot, honestly. No, that's... Okay, here I see... Okay, hold up. Oh, here we go. Okay, here we have the ring. No, I choose the... Oh, I see what happened. Because I accidentally scrolled back, it went back to the first ring. And that was this ring. Okay. My mistake. Fair enough. At that, Cove crumbled onto the ground, his legs completely giving out underneath him. Bubbling drops of tears flowed down into the grass just as heavily. True. That single word was all he could choke out. But that alone was all the inspiration you needed to continue your open-hearted confession. There was so much more you could express about your relationship, your history, your love for him. I remember the summer night, 5 years ago, when you snuck into my room after the Orca chariot event to show me a firefly. Shaking breath reverberated through your chest, thinking back to the scene. You could still picture it clearly. You promised you'd always be there for me. It made me so happy because that was exactly what I wanted. For you to always be there. I couldn't stop myself from saying it, and we have been together ever since. And with every day that's gone by, the more you've meant to me. It's not possible to express how much I feel with only words. And once more you ask him, will you marry me? The corners of Cove's mouth pulled up as he let every word reach deep into his heart. Still smiling like the sunshine, he parted his lip to answer, but all that came out was a gasp, squeaking sound. Frustrated when he tried to push past that block, he instead got himself into a stuttering coughing fit. Sorry. No need to rush, we got the rest of our lives for this. Cove instinctively reached forward and gripped you for support. He hung his head low, taking in slow deepening breaths. You didn't mind in any way, shape or form. You waited forever. You wait forever for Cove, if it was necessary. Eventually, the trembling in the fingers that were holding you settled out. He was able to lift his head once more to meet your gaze. I will. Despite tears still clinging to his eyes, the words were evenly spoken. Cove had completely confidence in this. True, I'm so grateful to marry you. There's nothing more that I could ever ask for. You'd never understand the term music to your ears better than when you heard the way he laughed so sweetly in that moment. I've thought about this a lot, you know. Probably way too often, and now it's real. It's happening. I don't know if I'm ever good enough with words to tell you how happy it makes me. You're what's made my life such a wonderful, beautiful, amazing experience. I'm luckier than I have any right to be, just to know you.
I love you.
Thank you for asking me and for being mine and letting me be yours. I love you. Let's get married. Delicately, Cove lifted out his left hand. You started understandingly what the gesture meant instantly. You took the ring in your hand and then slipped it onto his rightful place on Cove's finger. It was an ideal fit. His voice thick with emotion, Cove whispered, "It's perfect. I will keep it always." His eyes were transfixed on the ring. He admired it openly before finally lifting his gaze to meet yours. The view of the ocean blue held glossy drops of water, and somehow all you could think was that was him, Cove Holden, the man you loved, and now the person you were going to marry. You pushed him down and kissed him. You couldn't hold back any longer. You launched yourself at him, and Cove knocked Cove down the rest of the way to the ground on impact. You laid flat on his back. His eyes were wide, but swiftly pulled you against him, close as he could get, desperate to feel you. You leaned forward and kissed your fiancé. He kissed you back lovingly, and you could feel the smile on his face. The place where you met, where you grew, where you fell in love, was now the place where you shared life together truly began. Your eyes drifted close to let yourself experience it, to anchor yourself in this moment and hold on for as long as possible. You, the both of you, never wanted to let go. You were certain of it. The rest of the days would be spent side by side. It was all you'd hoped for. And the swirling excitement of your new engagement relaxed back into a more familiar style of gentle comfort your relation brought. Cove stood up. He lifted you along with him. Before anything else, Cove paused to collect everything you prepared for him and stored it in a bag he brought. It pleased you to see he hadn't forgotten about the part of your proposal. This, all of it, was incredible. You put the amazing Alexander out of business, if he was still in the making things magically appear business, for sure. You always make me feel so special. Thank you. Thank you. A lingering warmth filled the air around you, much more than the normal heat of summer. It was all your own. With gentle tones, Cove spoke once more. Let's go see our families. The smile on his face was building. You knew he was excited to tell them the news. You shared that sensation completely. Yeah, they are waiting for us. You arrived back on the doorstep of the Holden household. Your fiancé put his hand on the doorknob and took a deep breath. It was clear why he hesitated. Once he twisted the doorknob, it would be time to announce that you were going to be married. He stole a glance at you. You tried to stay calm, for both of your sakes. Yeah, he nodded with his confidence, clearly blustered. Yes, we're gonna save. That was what I wanted to say. Yes, override save. For a moment I was like, oh, what if it crashes now and I have to do this again? And I'm like, I'm very emotional. I'm probably gonna cry next time I have to read that. Then Cove opened the door. We're here! I'm gonna grab something to drink, because my throat is getting dry from all the talking. Together, we stepped into the house, hearts beating fast. Cove stopped before even placing his foot down. There was unexpected company. You saw your family, not just your moms, but Liz, Lee as well. Along with them, Terry and Miranda were curled up on the couch and Derek sipped at a glass of water. Surprise! Surprise! Everyone else followed another chorus of surprises. Cove's eyes widened and he swallowed hard. This wasn't part of the plan. What took you so long? Yeah, you're slowpokes. Cove remained almost completely frozen in place, though he did finally place his foot to the ground. Hey Sport, true, your friends came over for a visit, so I invited them for breakfast. And since you were cooking for a crowd, any woozies, we decided to ask Pam and Noelle and all over too. Pretty nice, huh? Whoa, we got a surprise for everyone too! Oh, this is perfect! Well, unexpected, having this crowd all together would make telling everyone easy. The groups looked back with expectant smiles. Cove's hand automatically went to the engagement ring on his left hand. He twisted it around his finger uncomfortably. He saw eyes follow his movement and heard gasps of realization. Well, you thought, as Lee started to point with a huge grin on her face. There's definitely would be no putting it off. Are we gonna push him on the... I feel like my dude is already on the brink of a mental breakdown. We shouldn't expect him to say anything more. All eyes turned to you. It was an awful lot of eyes at once. I'm intending to take Cove James Holden's hand in matrimony. Cove nodded with a serious expression.
Right.
That's right. I'm going to marry True. Cove reached over to take your hand as a physical sign of your union. The room filled with cheers of congratulations. You heard Terry's distinctive whoop and your moms start to joyfully whisper to each other. Lee squealed and Kiara could. There was no confusion or need for pause. Everyone in your life was immediately on board with your plans. I mean, they're probably like, took you long enough? Cove turned his head and beamed at you, excitement in his smile. It was coupled with a fond smile to squeeze your hand. You grinned back at him. Suddenly, Cove was almost bowed over by Cliff, throwing his arms around him. His father compressed him even more tightly as Cove regained his balance.
I'm so glad.
I'm so proud of you, Cove. The two of you are going to be happy. I'm sure of it. Dad. Cove sniveled, eyes wide and emotional. Then he hugged his father back, just as firmly. Yeah, I will be. Both of us will be. While the two embraced, Kiara came up to your side. She put a hand on your shoulder and spoke gently.
Thank you.
Thank you for being so wonderful to my baby. I'm lucky and grateful that you're going to be part of my life forever. Cliff pulled back and switched to patting the side of Cove's arms. Well put, Kiara. True as a keeper for sure. Kiara sidestepped over to her son and pinched his cheek. Then she tapped his nose playfully. Cliff gave her space, though continued to keep hold of Cove. Your own parents had now reached you. They took hold of one arm of yours each. I can't believe how grown up you are, but I couldn't be happier with how it all happened. Congratulations, True. You are one of the smartest cookies there are. You're making an amazing life for yourself. Liz elbowed her way to the front with Lee not far behind. Your mom stayed at your side. Lee squealed in your face, pumping a fist in the air.
Seriously?
This is totally amazing. You're seriously getting married. It's like we're really adults and all that. Maybe because we really are adults. Wait, hold on. You guys have been adults for a few years now. Oh god. Yeah, it's almost be hard to believe that my baby sibling is marrying a person. You know, if Gove wasn't such an obvious choice as a husband for you. Her smile turned abnormally soft. You're doing good. Out of the corner of your eye, you notice Cove's parents released him. He took the opportunity to slide closer to you and nodded at Liz. Thanks for the positive rating. Oh my god, I gotta use that sometime. Like, just if someone says something nice about me. Thanks for the positive rating.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. Lee giggled and your moms had some chuckles. Cole stood awkwardly, not entirely sure if he or Liz was being made laughed at. Your three friends stayed back. You believed that they were intentionally giving your families a chance to have a moment. But once they had said their pieces, it didn't take long for your friends to swarm you excitedly. Congratulations on the engagement! It's crazy how we're really at this point of our lives. Someday it feels like high school was yesterday.
So great.
But it's great. You both are definitely Sunset Bird's best couple. We don't even live there anymore. Terry nodded eagerly. You are the aspiration. I'm stoked that you're gonna be official. This is a big step, but I'd say you've more than earned it with everything you've been through over the years. You both deserve to be with each other for the rest of your lives. Cove had appeared weepy before, but this sealed it. He cried. Everyone's word had built up, and the cascaded into Cove shedding the happiest tears you'd seen. Thank you. Group hug! You spread your arms wide, welcoming everyone for a squeeze. There are so many people. You can hack it? Sure, let's do it. Cove were the first arms around you, although it didn't take long for everyone else to join in. You and Cove were squished into a giant hug of friends and family. Cove wiggled a little to embrace you tighter. He pressed his cheeks against yours, still wet from his oncoming tears. Good luck, kiddos. You've got a journey ahead of you. Cliff agreed with a chuckle. They've known each other for 15 years already, and still haven't gotten sick of each other yet? How hard could making it work for the rest of their lives be?
It's no trouble.
For the two of them, not difficult at all. Even once during this big life change. She had a sideways glance at your tearful fiancé, and the room laughed again. There's nowhere to run. He gestured at everyone standing around him as the punchline of this joke. I wouldn't get too far. If you weren't sure if your original quip or joke's comeback got a better reaction, either way you were happy. With the hug complete, people once again spread out so everyone had breathing room. from your ear to your cheek, over the bridge of your nose and your outer ear. Your blush warmed your skin. And it didn't stop there. It spread over every inch, encompassing you with affection. You could feel with every encouraging pet and excited hug the outpouring of love and acceptance from your friends and family. Truly touched, you watched them step back and take their seats again. When the excitement energy buzzing around the table started to calm, you had a second to truly appreciate this view. The most important people in your life all together again. And still felt too good to be true, to have everyone here. And then again you noticed Kiara stood back up. She clapped her hands once again in a satisfying smack. I hate to interrupt, but I thought you wanted to know that the food's done cooking.
Oh.
Food? Oh! I kind of forgot that's why we're here. Embarrassed, Cove scratched the back of his neck and kept his gaze away from everyone in particular. The crowd busted into loud fits of laughter. Whoa, I didn't think you would ever forget about your precious food. No offense, Drew. He eats like it's both the first and last time he's doing it. I mean, valid. Liz directed the last part at him, at you with sincere apologetic shrug. Meanwhile, Derek shook his head, fighting back a grin. As funny as it is, Drew definitely does a better job at getting Ghost's attention than Meals do. Clearly. Ghost stared, never left the floor, but you could tell he was listening to their teasing. Leaning back in his chair, he quietly crossed his arms and pouted. Your skin pickled from the heat of the blush rising to the surface of your skin, but you cocked your head to the side with an impish grin. Hey, at least I can trust he's not gonna run off with a plate of spaghetti food. Is the competitor I can beat. Then had Liz and Derek bursting into another fit of giggles. Pleased with yourself, you glanced at Cove and saw a faint wobble of a smile there too. Cliff crossed the floor to place a pile of silver on the table, and then he dropped the stuff on the other surface around the rest of the living room. When he was done, he gestured towards the food.
Okay.
The plates are in the kitchen. Serve yourself and sit wherever you like. The guests happily formed a line and the meal was steadily passed around. Before long, each person claimed a seat in the Holden's living room area. Some at the table, others on the kitchen island, and some situated on the couches. Conversations tickled across various clusters of friends as everyone dug in. Cove finished his plate in record time with a pleased sight. He put his fork down and surveyed the room. This is really cool, just how we're getting this to do this kind of thing. I like this too, Cove. I hope we'll be able to make this happen again. Of course, there's always been more reasons to get the gang back together in the future. Yes, the two of you might even dare to celebrate your yearly anniversary. Gasp. Every year? The smirk on Liz's face grew only wider as your mom's giggled at her cheesing. Ma shook her head, chuckling softer now. Liz, Sash.
True.
Honestly, we just might. You've made a good point. It does come around every year. You should. Seriously, you deserve a big celebration for your magical day. The kids are right. You've got a lot of people who want to appreciate you. You've got to give them a chance. It's true. I know I have a lot to thank you for. There were more nods of agreements around the room, and your moms looked at each other's hand for support. Took each other's hand for support. Neither were expecting so much encouragement. We'll think about it. She will think about it, and I will tell Lenny to stop thinking so hard if she doesn't agree. Pam!
Good.
Good job, Mom. Now that's settled, let's continue to enjoy this perfect gathering. Who else being here would make this extra perfect? I'm gonna see who, because I have honestly no clue. And amazing as it was, she couldn't help but think at the absent faces in seconds. Everyone cursed their attention to you. Baxter. Cove turned to you with genuinely thoughtful look. He rubbed at his forearm while he composed his words. It'd be kind of interesting to see what Baxter would be like now. I think I wouldn't mind seeing him again, though it'd probably be awkward. Yeah, that's what I think too. I just want to know. Ooh, yeah, Baxter was the cool guy with the ice shirt and the fancy rental car, right? I liked him. He was pretty nice. Charlotte's another person who I would have invited. A loud snort came from Liz before she slapped a hand over her mouth. Her shoulders trembled with laughter at your suggestion.
No.
Oh, true. I'm really not sure about that, but I guess I am a little curious what ended up happening to him. I bet he's doing well. He was a bright kid. Cove shrugged, listening to the thread of conversation. When you caught his grace, he smiled softly, and you hoped that whatever Shiloh was, that he was doing well, as you and Cove and Liz. Wasn't Jeremy the... Hold up. Jeremy, our life. Yeah, that was that kid, huh? Yeah, no, I wouldn't want him there. Left things there. There's a playfulness in Carol's stare as she scanned the room. She slowly placed her index finger on her chin. When I think of it, there's something I haven't done in a while. Eyebrows were raised, and Kira incomplete thought she was wordlessly urged to continue. Kira didn't hesitate. Okay. Look for all the photos Cliff has here. Wouldn't that be fun for all of us? What? Mom, why would you say that? Practically all those photos are of me.
Very cute.
That's why embarrassing my baby boy is just one of the perks of being a mom. Much to Cove's dismay, his mom was thoroughly entertained by his outburst. She winked in your direction. Meanwhile, Cliff eagerly stood up with a wave of proud affection for his son, and completely missed Kiara's tasting intent.
Oh.
I think that's a great idea. Everyone else interested in these pictures?
Yeah.
I am. Liz shut her hand up before Cliff could even take a full step. Terry and Miranda snuck each other a glance before nodding with matching grins. That sounds swell.
That's fantastic.
That would be lovely, Cliff. Mom tried to hide her amusement behind her hand, but she couldn't help the snigger that had slipped out. Oh boy. I've seen them all before, but they never get old. I mean, the pictures, technically, they wouldn't age, but... I mean, they would age, but not, like, in that way. Really? Oh, I bet there's some real gems in there. Oh, there's baby pigs. Don't worry, you won't be disappointed. Cove buried his face in his hands and sighed slowly. His shoulders deflated in defeat. Fine, we can take a look. Everyone happy with picture time? Very. It's always fun to bully other people, but like in a friendly way. Oh, teasing. That's called teasing, not bullying. Yay!
Fun.
Yes! They both excitedly raised their fists in victory. Small cheers from your friends and family have worked their way around the room, and even you bounced up to your feet excitedly. Mr. Alden flipped open his faded album for physical pictures. He held it up to his face, the corner of his eyes crinkled, and through the book covered much of his face, you were certain he was smiling fondly. But he didn't keep it to himself long. Laying the family album on the dining table, you and the rest of the party gathered around to get a peek. Aww, he's adorable! First picture on the page was baby Cove in a cute little onesie. There were several cools and alls from the group, and Cliff's eyes were shining with tears as he sniffled. He's grown so much. That's my darling angel. Nice onesie, Cove. How precious. Even as a baby you looked unimpressed. You're darn right he was. And he still is. You caught Cliff, wiping away a tear from his cheek with a quick swipe of the back of his hand. He nodded, reaffirming Kiara's parental pride. Your gaze slid over to Cove next. Despite his objections minutes ago, there was a gentle smile planted on his face. He seemed much more relaxed, pointing at different pictures and sharing related stories to the willing heirs near him. After breakfast and the photo showcase, everyone decided to stick around. Hanging around Mr. Holden's house turned into taking a walk around the neighborhood, and then for lunch you switch over to your mom's condo. It was a really good time, enjoying each other's company, but eventually the sun began to set and there was nothing else to delay your friends and family from going home. Inside your mom's house, the home you had been raised in, the group was taking their time saying goodbyes. It was tough for you, your family, your friends. You knew what was waiting on the mood. It might be some time before you see one of them again. It was a pleasure having you all here, and you're welcome to come around again, anytime. Ma rubbed an arm around Mom with a light chuckle. Mom leaned her head gently into her wife, and then they both beamed.
I appreciate it.
Absolutely. I know we're all adults with our own hectic lives, but we appreciate the time taken to visit. Snoring, Liz crossed her arms. She leaned one hip out to the side while her lip curled teasingly. You make it sound like this was such a struggle. Some of these people still live here, and it was a vacation for everyone else. Even so, it was very thoughtful, and I hope everyone has a safe trip home. Kiara clapped a hand on Colb's shoulder. He was puzzled as she leaned in so he could hear her. That means you too. It's dangerous crossing the street. Remember to look both ways. Hey now! Yeah, good luck with all the important grown-up things I'm sure you will have to do when you're all out of here. Definitely. I will give updates next time something exciting happens, or something lame so I can vent about it. How nice. I'm gladly won't be forgetting the little people. Never ever. I will keep in touch too.
Very nice.
You better. Well, me and Randy aren't going far, so we can keep an eye on the town for the rest of you. Nothing will get past us. Right. We'll make sure everything is okay. No need to worry at all.
Thanks.
That's kind of you. Ron and Terry gave each other a pleased smile, already coming to their self-appointed task. Derek scratched the back of his head, wearing a pensive look. It's always sad when I have to leave this town. It happens too often. But at least there will be people looking out for Sunset Bird. That makes me feel better about it. After a pause, Mr. Holden gave the younger folks a thumb up. That's all great. I've got a lot to be proud of, and a lot to be looking forward to. Well said, Cliff. I'm thankful that I've been privileged to witness the growth you've undergone over the years. You've each matured beautifully. Cove was touched by his parents' words and struggled to come up with something to follow. Yeah, it's been good seeing everyone. No one had taken a step yet, and you couldn't put this off any longer. It was time to say goodbye. I'm glad we got to do this. Me too. Today was even better than I imagined. I don't know what we are gonna do without the kids around. I know, they keep us young. We're not that old. Some of us still got it. She winked at Cliff teasingly, and he shook his head. Both of your moms laughed at that, and you caught several more cracks of smiles among your friends. Afterwards, there were more shuffling and hugs. A lot of hugs. Then people started trailing out into the street, seeing each other off. Your friends and family got into their cars and left the neighborhood. By the time things were fully settled, you realized the sun had set. Earlier, you and Cove decided on having a car pick you both up. Neither of you wanted to bother your parents after such a long day. It would be a little while longer before it would be there though. It was the right choice, as both sets of parents should you worry looks. The four seemed ready to call the night. Didn't take either you or Cove very long to assure them it was okay to head home and to go to bed. With one more round of goodnight and goodbyes, your families returned to the condos. Then the only people left on the street were you and Cove. Cove closed his eyes, humming happily, while he waited for it to pass. He stared up at the sky. Cove's hands were in his pockets, and his shoulders were relaxed when he caught your attention with a tilt of his head.
So...
Can you guess what I'm thinking? Well, at the moment you were in the neighborhood you grew up in, together with some time to spare. You rolled your shoulders back and pretended to crack a few of your knuckles. An amused look fidgeted on Cove's face while you were observed silently. Could you perhaps be thinking that the fireflies are out now?
Right.
Right. Do you want to go to the Poppy Hill before we leave? Always. There was an eager bounce in your steps as you and Cove crossed over the hill behind your mom's house. Side by side, you stared out the view in awe. As you imagined, the hill was dotted with the glowing firefly light. It perfectly reflected the memories of childhood held closely in your mind. Cove sighed contentedly, seeing them across the hill, weaving in around the blades of grass and the stars above. Cove cocked his head to the side before his expression twisted playfully. When he met your eyes, you were about to prompt him about what was on his mind, when he took off running. I bet I will catch one first. Oh, it's on. Kicking up a bit of dirt and ease, you pulled it in the opposite direction after a few fireflies that captured your attention. The first one that flitted into your range, you dove for it. Did you get one? It escaped between your fingers, but it didn't dim a second of your fun. You shook your head, trying to find the next target. The next one, I can feel it. Unless you're feeling my future victory. Out of the corner of your eye, you watched Cove get spun nearly around, falling. One of the was staying just out of reach. Chuckling, you crouched down low, searching the air. The pursuit for fireflies continued until a handful had been caught. Cove crossed over to you with a bright grin that could rival every twinkling bug and star around you. Cupped between both hands, Cove carefully held a firefly. The corners of his mouth twisted, for a few giggles escaped him, and you knew that feeling well. The way the firefly would buzz around, tickling your palms of your hand. Cove's eyelids fluttered open, meeting yours. He watched you with a complicated mix of emotions, heavy with the weight of 15 years of history of memories. It's really nice we came here together. At night with the fireflies, this trip wouldn't have felt complete without it, especially after... Cove couldn't even finish the sentence, he became too bashful. But you knew what he meant. He was thinking about how you brought him one of the little critters as a surprise. And how you proposed to him. Yeah, I think you're right. You spotted another firefly, lowering your eyes level before looping up to the top of Cove's head. It landed right on his hair, and you smirked. What? You have a very tiny firefly head. I do? Before you could answer, the firefly took off and disappeared into the night. You gave it a tiny wave goodbye. Well, that didn't last very long. That's too bad. I remember them as tiny head forever. Me too. Taking a deep breath, Cove held your eye. He appeared to be conflicted about what he wanted to say next, and you waited for him to make his choice. It's so strange not to live here anymore. Most of my life, neither of us were ever really away from Sunset Bird. Well, unless one of us went on a trip somewhere. Or when our families took a trip together. Remember that? A chuckle, losing himself to fondly I give up. You couldn't help but match his grin. I like the road trip one a lot, though I don't think could all squish into that RV again. We're way too big. Laughing, Cove shook his head. His brow creased the longer he sat, with the thoughts spinning in his brain. Those visits back with my mom, I remember what a big deal they felt like. Then, to be away from here without anyone else coming for a whole few weeks? How little I knew. Hey, what did you use to tell your mom about me when you were on those trips to see her? Thrown off a little of kilter, Cove hadn't been expecting that question at all. Both of his eyebrows raised, and part of you wondered if you had somehow spoken gibberish instead. Honestly, I've been wondering about it since I was 13. Carol always kept the details to herself, and you never said a word either. Mostly I just tell her about the times we hung out, and since you were obviously there when things happened, I didn't have to tell you to. That's true. But I would be really enthusiastic about it when I was telling her what happened, because, you know, you were a more important friend to me. The time we spent together was important. So I definitely would have been embarrassed if my mom told you any of that. I really appreciate that she kept it to herself. Oh, I think that's nice. All of it. Thanks. Thank you for telling me. Finally, Cove parted his hands and released the firefly back into the hill. It flew up around his face before darting away into the sky. But your gaze was fixated on him. There was a touch of wishfulness in his features as you watched the book disappear into the night. It wasn't until Cove returned his attention back to you that his stammered warmed. Okay, I'm ready to go now. Yeah. You took one last look at everything around you, breathing in the summer air, the ocean salt tickling your nose. Take care of the hills for us, little fireflies. Trading a few steps behind Cove, you looked back down the hill. You spotted your childhood home immediately. I'm grateful we could come home here and see how things are without us. It was nice.
Yeah.
It really was. With Cove right there alongside you, you made your way down the hill, with the same stars above trailing your way. Your last night in Sunset Burst was closing out. You were lost deep within a dream, adrift of your current unconscious mind. Cove was with you, even there, his presence strong as your mind flitted from scene to scene, the logic of the conscious world melting around you. Something jolted you from your slumber, the visions you've constructed slipping away, even as you scrambled to catch them. It had been a good dream. You opened your eyes to an unlit, unfamiliar ceiling. The darkness permeated the room so thoroughly that you were sure it was still the middle of the night. As your eyes adjusted to what little light was there, was to catch onto, a smiling face cozied itself right above you. There he was. Good morning, True. Morning, it just looked so dark. The grin was bright enough to make it seem like the sun had risen after all. Come true, you said sarcastically. Oh, it's my dream come true. Naturally, you weren't surprised to see him, but that didn't stop you from enjoying it every time. His expression softened to your voice, a tender affection in his gaze, obviously despite the dim space. Kisses. Propping yourself up on your elbows, you leaned in towards him. Cove read your intent in your movement and bent down, meeting you halfway in a kiss. Would you have preferred me to wake you up by tapping on the window? Oh, not again. Yes. Cove simply smirked, amused by his own wit.
Come on.
I mean, you really should have expected this was gonna happen. I did, I was waiting for it. Good, glad it didn't disappoint. I'm guessing you woke me up for some reason. Are you gonna let me know? Well, this is our last day here. Everyone might still be asleep, but if we get up now, we can still see the at least see the neighborhood. Do you want to? Is there a reason you didn't tell me this plan last night? Is Cove only shrugged. He also did something, didn't he? Is that a yes or what? Oh yeah, I will come with you.
All right.
Great. When you held out one of the hands you helped you get up to. Yes, lift me up. Cove complied, crouching down to scoop you up before gently setting you down again. Before you could head out, you and Cove both needed to get dressed. You did so quietly. Quickly. Quietly or quickly? Quietly. The strangeness of the hour meant that your body seemed less coordinated than usual. Each article of clothing a new puzzle, but you managed it. The two of you were eventually ready to head out into the wide world. Dawn still hadn't broken when you left the hotel, yet it was easy enough to get a ride down into Sunset Bird. The journey was peaceful. You might have expected sleep to attempt to claim you once again, but with the sky still so dark, but Cove's excited energy was infectious. Morning was finally starting to come over Sunset Bird as you arrived, almost like the sun itself wanted to be there to welcome you. Cove turned towards you, his eyes sparkling with anticipation. One more summer beach trip? You laughed, nodding it to reassure him, as if there was any alternative now. That you were here and he was looking at you so urgently. I give up. Yeah, one more. You could have taken your time getting there, dwelling under the morning sun, or you could have taken the short walk at the regular pace. And both of those would have been just right for some other occasion. But this time, without either of you saying a word, you and Cove set off sprinting. The two of you tore gleefully down the street towards the beach, as excited and ungainly as the kids you have once been. You were laughing with joy and the absurdity of it all. Being here at the break of dawn with the boy who you once discovered on a nearby hill, who never completely grew up. As it was still early, you did your best to keep the noise down. To the side, you saw Cove covering his mouth to stifle his own giggles, similarly aware of the people sleeping in the condos around you. You thought of the mean not grandparents would have said if they could see you now. All you could do was continue running and stumbling down towards the beach, away from the residents and their sleeping occupants. It was only a few minutes before you arrived at the expensive ocean shore. Cove kicked off his shoes and strutted into the water, not stopping until his feet were entirely submerged and the waves tickled his ankle. Let's get into the water with him this one time. After slipping your shoes off, you let the seawater flow over you. It was cool against your skin, but not as cold as when your wave pulled back and your wet feet were exposed to the air again. The two of you stood there, watching as the sun continued its descent over the horizon. Silence fell between you until finally dawn had fully broken. Even then, Cove spoke in a whisper.
Wow.
I can't believe it's over. Boy, you're really sounding like a kid again. A ghost of a smile crept on Cove's face, like the sun peeking out between the clouds of an overcast day. Aww. Cove reached out and enveloped your hand in his, pressing his palm together tightly. Silence returned just for a second. I'm glad we came this morning, and that we came onto this whole visit back.
I'm so glad.
But more than anything, I'm glad for ending up in this town in the first place, where I got to grow up with a really nice neighbor. I wouldn't have wanted any other life. I'm grateful for meeting you too. Cove looked over at you, out of the corner of his eye, not turning his face away from the sea. His expression was full of affection, from the gentle curve of his smile to his clear, content brow. It was a stark contrast to the tears rolling down his cheeks. You counted yourself lucky, even though you were leaving now. This place had gifted you with so much that you'd carry with you wherever life might take you. The memories you had made, the lessons you've learned, the people you'd built relationships with, you'd keep those pieces of your life in Sunset Bird forever. You stood with Cove, silently watching as the bright rays swept away the last of the night shadows until the day truly arrived. Your spirits were high as the sun rose ever higher in the sky. The two of you had found yourselves meandering back to the neighborhood street on sandy feet, strolling down the path you had just done 1,000 times before. This is where it all started. You were compelled to look at the exact spot you first encountered Mr. Holden sitting dejected on the curb. He wasn't like that anymore. Still, you couldn't forget the day it began, just as you couldn't believe what an adventure it led to. Things had never been the same since the moment, and you couldn't be more happier for it. Your mental lingering on the meeting had turned physically, causing you to stop in your tracks. It was only when you heard Cove's voice calling your name that you remembered when you were and realized what you've done. And what a present it was, a shining sun, a clear blue sky, and Cove by your side, all the most natural things in the world. So, what's the next step? You watched Cove expectantly, waiting for him to guide you forward from here. There was a crinkle around his eyes as he laughed. It's up to you now. You're giving me too much power. Aren't you worried about what's going to do with my head? Cove smirked, shaking his head.
It's okay.
Don't worry about it. I'm listening, so go ahead. His eyes met yours, holding your gaze. I believe in you. True. No matter how much time passed, there was things that you could count on to be constant. Cove, your family, his family, and all the other loved ones being here for you when you needed it was one of the things since the beginning and for always. Knowing that they were there and you would never be truly alone made the future look all that much brighter. Wanna find a private to make out? By the time you had running out, you liked the idea of lingering while you could. Cove nodded, his gaze shifted from from you to roam across the little place that you both called home. There's a lot of that still out there in the world, a lot of different ways things could go in the future, but for this, I think that'd be the perfect choice. You beamed, his approval of your suggestion lifting your spirits ever higher. Your days growing up in Sunset Bird had been so wonderful. Even the prospect of leaving again made your chest ache. Yet you weren't going to let that stop you. It would be hard, but you knew that it would still be there, waiting whenever you wanted to return. Facing Cove, who had been by your side through it all, you knew that one day you'd look back on these moments, now just as you fondly reminiscent about your childhood growing up here. Each happy moment you experienced became only a memory of what used to be. But that was what life was, and it was okay. As it was from the beginnings and continued like that way for always. Life took another step forward. Thank you for beginning a life here. Oh, this game was great. You can come back again always. Yes, I know. Oh, this is great game. Oh, I'm gonna miss this for a while because I will be going back to the other games I've been playing. That means that Stardew Valley will return, that Spiritfarer will return. I also bought the sequel to, what was it called? Hold up, let me grab Steam. Ori and the Will of the Wisps, Spiritfarer, Stardew Valley. I got a lot of other games I have ready to stream. So yeah, it was a great game, and it just, damn. It's a bit hard to believe it's over because I've been streaming it for so much. Hold up. Since the update of Steam, I don't know if you can see my overlay. So I will quickly put this thing on. How much time do I have in the game? I played for 30 hours. 30 and a half hours. Anyway. I want to thank everyone for coming to this stream. I hope you all enjoyed this series. Or if this was the first video you watched, maybe you should watch the rest if you enjoyed it. Honestly, I'm expecting you to enjoy it if you're still here at the end of the stream, but yeah, and I will see you guys next time. Since, like I said earlier in this stream, I now have a job, I will go figure out a streaming schedule where I will stream twice a week. And yeah, maybe I will keep it just Friday scheduled and the other time randomly, so I have variation. But yeah, keep the schedule, or keep looking at the schedule if you're curious. I also show there if I'm planning on cancelling a stream. I kind of stopped using Twitter because I didn't really want to use it anymore, so yeah. I'm not really using that one anymore, and yeah, I still upload on YouTube everything, the VODs, and now I have more times, I will also start looking into making normal YouTube videos, and I will link the channel somewhere once I start doing that. And those are basically all my plans. Thanks for watching, and until next time, bye bye!